Hey guys, I'm going to read this prayer that I've been on for several days. It's from a guy named Father Vincent, and it inspired me as a young man, and I wrote it in this Bible I've had since 1995. And I utilized the front empty pages because I thought it painted such a good target for an aspiration of behaviors and attitudes and manner with which we go forth in the Christian life. And it says here, I will try this day to live a simple, sincere, and serene life, repelling promptly every thought of discontent, discouragement, anxiety, impurity, and self-seeking, cultivating cheerfulness, magnanimity, charity, and the habit of holy silence, exercising economy in expenditure, generosity in giving, carefulness in conversation, fidelity to every trust, and a childlike faith in God. So today we're looking at his point about carefulness in conversation. In the book of James, chapter 3, it says, we all stumble in what we say. And another verse says, where there are many words, transgression is unavoidable. And it says we're to put a bridle on our tongue. And it says in James 1, verse 26, if anyone thinks himself to be religious, or you regard yourself as a follower of Jesus and you're endeavoring to live the life, and yet you don't bridle your tongue, you deceive your own heart, and your religion is worthless. So in order to have a worthwhile Christian experience, a worthwhile life, we've got to zip our lip. I mean, it says in James 3, any animal can be tamed by a human being, but no man can tame the tongue. It is a restless evil full of deadly poison. So we really need God's help in this area. And it says that the tongue is like the rudder of a ship. Giant ocean vessel, relatively speaking, the rudder is a very, very small part of this giant vessel. And yet it can steer the entire vessel. Same thing with our tongue. It's a very small part of our being, but the Bible says it's a restless evil full of deadly poison. So that's why we got to counter it. And he's saying, God, I'm asking you to give me thoughtfulness and carefulness in my conversation. King David in Psalm 19, the last verse, he said, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. And I pray that for you today. I pray that there be carefulness in conversation. When I was a younger man, I still have to deal with this, but I feel like I'm growing some. There's always hope for us to advance. And this is what I feel like. This is a posture of I will this day. God help me. This is my target. Help me to not just blab the first thing that comes to my mind. You think before you speak. There's a verse in Ecclesiastes 3:7 that says there's a time to speak, there's a time to be silent. Earlier in this guy's prayer, he's asking that God would help him to have the habit of holy silence. We men, we could just kind of get quiet when we're in a moment with our mate and just do the silent treatment. That is not what this is talking about. That's not bridling your tongue. I mean, I know sometimes it can be like, but because you're buying your time to figure out how to respond or what to say, what leadership to provide, what conclusions to draw, due to the volatility of the moment, the emotion of the moment, and so forth. But I just think in every conversation, we need to pay attention to what we say. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So so speak and so act. There's such a symmetry to all of this, and it's tied together. And like earlier, I talked about how we spend our money and our generosity and our giving, and then this is carefulness in our conversation. I mean, our words matter. We could speak a word that there's one who speaks rashly like the thrust of a sword, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. So, what the Bible says, we're to always have our speech seasoned with salt. There are people I know that are just always looking for an encouraging word at a moment. This happened to me at the gym 2 days ago. And he even said, I was looking for something positive to bring. So he was intentionally being careful in his conversation. He wasn't being flattering. He had thought about it. He sat on it for a while, and it ended up being really meaningful. And it's like, wow, And then there are also people that just figure out things to say to be agitating, sarcastic, hurtful, and we just don't go there. Unless it's kind of a peppery little bit of humor with a loved one that they feel assured already that you love them. I think there's health. There's certain measure of health with aspects of that. I think you understand what I mean. But carefulness in conversation, bridling the tongue. Boy, what an important thing to do. Read James chapter 3 in light of this, and I think it'll really help you out. God bless you.